Hi, my name is Isabella, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to publish a website. Whether you're setting up a blog, your business, or you're making your own personal portfolio, knowing how to get your website onto the internet is a big game changer. I'm going to walk you through 5 different steps and decisions that you need to make in order to publish your website. First, you have to decide whether or not you're going to host your own website or you're going to use a service. Then you have to figure out the costs involved, you have to figure out security, and then you have to go through the actual steps of publishing your website. And finally, you have to figure out how to update it once it's live. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do all that stuff. First, let's get into whether or not you should use your own server or go with a service provider. With self-hosting, you run your own website from your own server, which is a physical or a cloud-based computer that delivers your site to your audience. The big advantages are that you have a lot of control and flexibility over your website, meaning that you can design it practically for yourself and you get to customize every aspect of it. The big downside, though, is that you need a lot of technical knowledge. You have to understand how servers, file systems, and security works, and you're responsible for all the maintenance and upkeep of this website. Now, let's talk about hosting services. Ones you may have heard of are Wix or Squarespace. These companies basically rent out server spaces and manage all the technological stuff for you. You just build your own website and publish it. Big pros are that it's easy to set up, it's reliable, and you often have customer service who's there to help you. The cons are that you lose a little bit of control, and you have a little bit of less customization, and you have to pay an annual or monthly fee. But for someone who's a beginner and doesn't have a lot of knowledge and technological skills, I'd say that using a hosting provider would help you in the long run. Now let's talk about the costs involved. At a minimum, to publish a website, you'll need to find a domain name. A domain name is your site's web address, so www.google.com would be a domain name. This would cost like $10 to $20 a year. Then there's hosting. So if you decide to use a hosting service, you'll have to pay a fee for that. It could be as cheap as $3 a month, but premium ones with better speed and features can be up to $30 or more per month. Next, you'll need an SSL certificate. These can be up to $10 to $100 per year and basically just ensure security over your site and encrypt all the data, which keeps all your visitors' data safe. Additional fees can be premium fees, different forms that you need to plug in, like context forms, or even hiring someone else to build it. At most simple websites can be between $50 to $150 to upkeep throughout the year. Next, we need to talk about security. Publishing your website is one thing, but keeping it secure is a whole nother ballpark. You have to use Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, which basically just ensures that all your data between your site and the visitor's browser is encrypted, meaning that the data that they don't want shared isn't shared. This comes with the SSL certificate that I mentioned in the cost section. Another part of keeping your site safe is making sure that your software is always up to date, meaning there's no bugs or glitches that could potentially leak data or get your visitors' info out when they don't want it out. Next they sound pretty mundane, but they still need to be kept in mind when you're creating your website. You need to be using strong passwords, installing firewalls, and having backups that are ready to go in case something bad happens. These may sound basic, but a lot of people might forget them, and they're very key to keeping all your information secure. Now let's talk about the actual steps to publishing a website. First, you buy your domain name. So as I said earlier, that www.google.com, that's your domain name. Next, you choose a web host. This is where your site will live. So if you're doing it through a service provider, it'll live within that service. Next, you have to connect your domain name into your host provider. You do this by updating your DNS, which is your domain naming system. It basically translates your domain name into your IP address so that your computer can read it. Then you have to upload your website file. So whatever you want on your website, you upload onto your domain and your host. Then next, you need to make sure that you test everything before you publish. You have to check your links, your images, and your forms to make sure that everything sent you to the right place and is the correct information. And once those steps are done, you can go live, and then you're officially online. Now, let's get into how to make updates. One step that you always need to make sure that you do before you make updates is that you back up your entire website in case something breaks while you're updating it. That way the old version of it will still be active and you can do repairs on that after you've fixed what has ever broken down. If you're using a content management system, you can just log into your dashboard, edit your pages, and then publish your changes right then and there. If your website is static, then what you have to do is you have to upload the files and update them on their own, and then you can upload it to your website host. If your website's a little bit more advanced, you might want to use a software company that specializes in updating and restoring websites, like GitHub, which is basically its entire goal is to help developers create, store, manage, and share their websites. Here's a little recap. First, you have to decide if you're going to self-host or use a hosting provider. Second, you have to budget for a domain name, hosting, and an SSL certificate. Third, you need to make sure that your website is safe by upkeeping basic security measures. Then you have to follow the actual publishing steps to go live. And finally, you have to regularly update your site to keep it safe and working well. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you guys all enjoyed.